My name is Lin Xiao, and I have been a leader in the immortal world for the first 9 generations. If you want to ask me about my strength, I can only say that after becoming an immortal, there is no enemy that I cannot kill with just one finger. A few so-called invincible guys only forced me to use the second one, that's all. Do you not believe it? Lin Xiao extended a finger towards the void in front of him, and his calm actions made the river of time appear, trembling violently and showing signs of collapse. The powerful in all realms were frightened and their souls surged. Sorry everyone, it's been a long time since we last started. I accidentally used 30% of my mana. Lin Xiao sighed, how lonely Invincible is. Keywords of the novel. At the beginning, I become the eternal God Emperor, invincible with just one thought. No pop-ups, start as the eternal God Emperor, I am invincible with just one thought. Download the complete TXT collection, start as the eternal God Emperor, I am invincible with just one thought. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Marriage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Marriage. The vast continent. Xiantian Empire, Southern Mangling Region, Yong'an City. Today is the day of the marriage between the Lin and Su families, and the main street is filled with people joining in the fun. Lin Xiao sat in the wedding car pulled by a unicorn, looking through the window at the people pointing at him on the street. A fool marrying a useless person is really a perfect match. I can't say that. Although the bride has become a waste, it is said that she is very beautiful, with an angelic face and a devilish figure, which has made countless men drool at the sight, whether it is true or not. If what you said is true, wouldn't that be a cheap deal for this fool? Lin Xiao seemed like an outsider, listening quietly, neither sad nor happy, with a constant expression of indifference on his face. Apart from that, there was no unnecessary expression. Suddenly, Lin Xiao felt dazed and half of the sugar in his hand fell off. Gradually, his hollow and dull eyes became bright and lively, even his temperament changed. Where is this? The unfamiliar environment in front of Lin Xiao made him desperately recall the past. 18 years ago, he, who had reached the realm of immortality, began his 10th reincarnation in order to break through the eternal realm. So, Lin Xiao crossed into this strange world dominated by fighting spirit and magic. Born into one of the 3 strongest families in the Manling region, the Lin family became the son of Lin Wei. The other 2 major families are the Su family and the Wang family. When he was just born, before he could condense the 9 reincarnation marks inside his body to protect himself, he was poisoned by his midwife. At the brink of death, the reincarnation seal operates on its own, depleting the last trace of spiritual power in its past life and purifying toxins. But his true spiritual consciousness fell into a deep slumber. Lin Xiaoben thought that this reincarnation would be like the previous 9 lifetimes, able to grow smoothly and reach its peak, achieving eternity and immortality. But he never expected that he would sleep for 18 years at the beginning. The physical body is like a soulless fool, confused and often teased by other peers. So much so that his true spiritual consciousness has now awakened and returned to a normal human state. Ah! Lin Xiao covered his head, which was about to crack with pain, and let out a low moan. At this moment, the subconscious memories that had been preserved in his physical body for 18 years surged wildly. The fleeting scene before my eyes is like a movie that has been recorded for many years, playing rapidly. After watching, Lin Xiao roughly understood what kind of world he was in and his current situation. Father Lin Wei, in order to prevent him from taking the risk of attending the coming-of-age ceremony for the younger generation a few days later, the family prepared for this wedding in advance. Because after marriage, even if you become an adult, you can choose not to attend the coming-of-age ceremony. It may sound embarrassing, but it's better than losing one's life. The bride who married him is named Su Meng, the daughter of Su Wanyan in the Su family. Su Meng was born with a natural talent of intelligence, self-taught, and gained spiritual power. She was admitted to the renowned Mage Academy of the Xiantian Empire. Unexpectedly, 18 years later, Meng's spiritual power inexplicably dissipated and he became an ordinary person, being sent back by his mentor. In the world of the jungle, ordinary people are equivalent to slaves, like fish on a chopping board, left to be slaughtered and without any status. The newly rising Su family's momentum plummeted and was slowly annexed by the ambitious Wang family. In order to preserve the family's heritage, the Su family came up with the idea of joining the Lin family in smoking. Lin Zhao's father, Lin Wei, not only did not dislike this matter, but was also delighted. Because Lin Wei knows the best about his son's situation, finding a wife would be great. Moreover, the other party is still the most outstanding genius girl in the former barbarian region, with a natural appearance that goes without saying, beautiful and delicious. This gave rise to the scene where Lin Xiao followed the wedding procession to pick up Su Meng. Lin Xiao closed his eyes and digested these memories. When he opened his eyes, a terrifying murderous aura swept across the entire city of Yong'an. At that moment, everyone felt the overwhelming aura of death on their backs, but it quickly disappeared. Due to the short time and the inability to find the source, it was just an illusion and I didn't feel like asking my friends around me. If you want to harm me, then you have to be aware of death. Lin Xiao crushed all the highly toxic sugar in his hand into powder. If it weren't for the 9 reincarnation marks in his body working again to resolve toxins, he would probably have died by now. Although Lin Xiao still doesn't know who's trying to harm him, based on the memories of these years, several uncles are most suspected. Especially the sons of several uncles, they have always looked down upon him and often verbally humiliated him. As for why he poisoned, Lin Xiao speculated that the other party's purpose and motive should be for the position of the head of the family. Recently, the head of the Lin family, Lin Feng, also known as Lin Zhao's grandfather, is getting old and preparing to abdicate and give up his position. And Lin Zhao's father, Lin Wei, became one of the most hopeful people to sit in the position of head of the Lin family. If the younger generation performs well and is recognized and supported by Lin Feng, there is no doubt that they will become the new head of the family. So, Lin Zhao's uncles wished they could kill him. In this way, his father will go crazy and have no hope of becoming the head of the family. I am too weak now. According to the class of this world, I am just a novice swordsman in the initial stage. Even a junior swordsman can handle it, but if I encounter an intermediate or advanced swordsman, I'll have to run away. Lin Xiao is quite helpless about his current situation. However, he also had unexpected joy. Although true spiritual consciousness has been dormant for 18 years, the reincarnation seal has silently accumulated a lot of spiritual power. In not much time, Lin Che will quickly rise up. Even if he encounters a great swordsman, a sword master, or even a sword saint or god, he will not be afraid. In a few more years, the Sword Emperor and the Sword Emperor will come, but it won't be enough for him to kill them with just a flick of his finger. To return from the Su family, first unify the 9 reincarnations to avoid encountering danger and being powerless to fight back. Yong'an City belongs to the main city of the Lin family, where generations of ancestors have settled and made their fortunes. It is a true ancestral land. And Yong'an City is not far from the main city of the Su family. Even if it is not far, it will take several hours. Ordinary people set off from Yong'an City in the morning and can only return after sunset. Excluding swordsmen who possess high-level warcraft as mounts and mages who can control the flight of magical elements. In underdeveloped and mountainous areas like the Manling region, there is no spatial teleportation array, which only exists in exceptionally prosperous areas. After all, the space teleportation array consumes a huge amount of energy and is not affordable in general areas. Lin Che kneaded the formula with both hands and used the technique of reincarnation. The surface of his skin shimmered like an immortal deity. Spiritual power flows through the 7 meridians and 8 meridians, flowing towards all limbs and bones. He resonated with the 9 reincarnation marks within his body, and the void was filled with intricate and mysterious talismans, completely enveloping it. For a long time, 9 reincarnations intertwine together. As the light becomes more dazzling and dazzling, the 9 reincarnations come together, forming a new imprint. It's done. Lin Che looked at the pattern on his left palm, feeling extremely happy and joyful, indescribable. In this life, I want to achieve eternity. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Seems to be turned green. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 seems to be turned green. Not far from the wedding procession, 2 young men were staring coldly. They are the sons of Uncle Lin Xiao and Uncle San, named Lin Hongji and Lin Wenjie. Lin Wenjie furrowed his brows and said, I was planning to have someone intercept Lin Xiao halfway and disrupt the marriage alliance between the 2 families. Unexpectedly, Uncle Heir is in the team and cannot take action. Lin Hongji calmly gazed at the wedding team leaving, his mature and steady face lit up with a sinister smile. If Lin Xiaojun marries Su Meng, then there will be an additional support from the Su family behind the second uncle, and indeed there is a greater hope of winning the position of head of the family. How can I do as they wish? Before the wedding team set off, I asked my servants to give Lin Xiao, a fool, some sugar with a colorless and tasteless poison on the surface. As long as it is taken, it will definitely lead to death. The key is to give the sugar to Lin Xiao's servant. I have secretly dealt with it, so there is no need to worry about being discovered later. Lin Wenjie, who was still in distress, immediately showed a look of admiration. Brother Hongji's move is so clever. You don't have to worry about second uncle investigating us, but you can also prevent this marriage alliance. It's really killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Lin Hongji smiled and shook his head, saying, No, the marriage plan between the Lin and Su families still needs to continue, but the groom needs to be replaced. Lin Wenjie could probably guess the meaning behind his words, but he was not quite sure. He asked tentatively. Brother Hongji, are you thinking of marrying Su Meng? Lin Hongji nodded. The Su family attaches great importance to this marriage alliance, and even if Lin Xiao dies, the wedding will not be terminated. So, as soon as Lin Xiao dies, I will take the initiative to step forward and make a request to my grandfather to replace that fool and marry Su Meng. At this time, the Su family not only has no objections, but also feels grateful that I resolved their daughter's embarrassment of getting married to her husband on the same day. Although I haven't seen Su Meng herself with my own eyes, judging from the portrait, she is indeed a rare beauty. Moreover, she was once the proud daughter of the heavens in the Manling region. If I marry her, it would be beneficial for me without any harm. Lin Wenjie, who likes to flatter, instantly understood Lin Hongji's thoughts and opened his mouth to praise him wildly. Little did they know that their painstaking planning turned into a bubble at the moment when Lin Xiaojun's spiritual consciousness awakened. If Lin Hongji knew about the poison he had poisoned and woke up a sleeping cultivator, he would probably have regretted his actions. The wedding procession departed in the morning and arrived at the main city of the Su family at noon. Chongping City, the residence of the Su family. Su Wanyan, who had a simple and kind appearance, greeted his father in Law Lin Wei with a joyful expression, like an old friend he had not seen in many years, chatting non-stop as soon as he met. Su Wanyan said, I didn't expect you to personally lead the team, it's quite unexpected. Lin Wei replied, I only have this son who has never traveled far since childhood. I don't trust him coming alone, and I also want to see my future daughter in law as soon as possible. Su Wanyan expressed understanding. Lin Wei reminded, my son is quiet, straightforward, and not good at communicating with people. Don't go too far with those kids from the Su family later. That's about it. Su Wanyan said, I understand. Don't worry, I have already explained everything to them. Just follow a simple process. The two exchanged a glance and laughed heartily. Su Wanyan glanced at Lin Xiao on the wedding car, his expression hesitant, unsure whether to ask. Lin Wei, who was well versed in observing words and expressions, saw that he was difficult to speak and must have something to say. We are all in-laws now. If you have anything to say, don't hide it. It makes me uncomfortable to watch. The other party had already said so, and Su Wanyan couldn't keep bothering and asked. Actually, I want to ask, is Lin Xiao your own son? You father and son don't look alike. You have red hair and red eyes, and your wife has blue hair and blue eyes. How could she give birth to a son with black hair and black eyes? Su Wanyan's head is full of question marks. Lin Wei's face turned black instantly, with a gloomy expression like a pool of stagnant water. To be honest, he once doubted why his son didn't look like him. If you say this son belongs to someone else, the entire Xiantian Empire, or even the vast continent, has never heard of anyone with black hair and black eyes. Unable to find a solution, Lin Wei decided not to think too much. When Su Wanyan saw him not speaking, he knew he had asked an inappropriate question and immediately changed the topic to ease the atmosphere. Lin Xiao got off the wedding car and accompanied the Su family to the room where the bride lived with their servants. When he arrived at the door of the bride's room, he was blocked by a group of young men and women. These people are all dressed in the attire of the best man and bridesmaids. The leading man had a majestic appearance, wrapped in white clothes, holding a long spear to block the way, and spoke. Who is coming? The Lin family is picking up the groom, Lin Xiao. This is a level in the matchmaking process, and Lin Xiao is not angry. He asks, are you? I am Su Meng's cousin, Su Qingshan. Su Qingshan spoke again and said, if you want to marry my cousin, you have passed my level. What are your strengths? I'm good at it, Lin Xiao replied with a serious smile. Everyone present was stunned for a moment. The bridesmaids, who didn't react, slowed down for a while before understanding his words. They blushed like a monkey's butt and cursed profusely. Su Wanyan said to Lin Wei, your son is really outspoken and straightforward. Lin Weiqi smiled twice. He wouldn't be surprised by any of his son's actions because he's used to it. Is it true that, as rumored, one's brain is not very good and answering questions is different from others? Forget it, let's ask in a simple and easy to understand way. Su Qingshan muttered to himself and continued. You look quite handsome. Although you're just a little behind me, you're enough to flirt with women outside. In terms of your character. Before he could finish speaking, Lin Xiao deliberately reached into his collar, covering up his spell and pretending that there was a space ring hidden inside his clothes. Actually, there's nothing in his clothes. Lin Xiao directly used magic to condense first-order crystals containing rich magical elements from the air, throwing them out one by one. These crystals can be used to refine various magical potions, armor weapons, and so on, whether it's weapons, magic scrolls, or the fighting spirit used by swordsmen. All levels are distinguished by color. The first class is the weakest, and the 10th class is the strongest, from low to high. The higher the number, the higher the level. The colors are white, black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and purple gold. And what Lin Xiao lost was the first-order magic element crystal that emitted white light. He spread it out without any money, saying as he spread it. My character should be decent, people who have met me like me quite a bit. People often say that I am handsome, young and promising, and they all want to be friends with me. There are still people who cling to me with dead skin and white skin, unable to drive me away, feeling helpless and annoyed. Perhaps this is the charm of my character. Lin Xiao is like throwing stones. He has lost a pile of step element crystals, which can put everyone's shocked mouths into salted duck egg. Elementary crystals have little effect on swordsmen or wizards. But for families in these impoverished areas, it is something even more valuable than gold coins. Su Wanyan said in a daze, my dear family, you are too generous. I have received this gift from the Su family. Lin Wei replied with a smile on his face. As a father, Lin Wei was also frightened by his son's extravagant behavior. Lin Wei quickly asked Lin Xiao to stop. He is not sure why his son has so many crystals. But the thought of giving the valuable crystal white to the Su family made Lin Weixin feel a great pain. Especially when he saw his son's expression that looked at money like dirt, he really wanted to curse at the spendthrift. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Bending the long spear with bare hands, startling to drop the chin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Bending the long spear with bare hands, startling to drop the chin. After Lin Xiao stopped, perhaps everyone's attention was focused on the pile of first-order magic element crystals on the ground. They did not notice the magical elements in the air and became much rarer than usual, almost to the point of being imperceptible. Lin Xiao can indeed use magic to condense the floating magical elements around him, but he cannot create them out of thin air. So the entire Chongping city, and even a 5-mile radius outside the city, was almost drained of magical elements by him. If there were wizards fighting nearby at this moment, Lin Xiao could only wish them good luck. Because the magic elements in this place will take a few days to return to normal, once the magician has no magic elements to mobilize, they will definitely fall behind and suffer a defeat. The magician who can afford the teleportation scroll is fine and can escape. If you can't afford a wizard who transports scrolls, then you'll have to wait until death. The magician's physical combat ability is too poor, and there is almost no chance of winning when encountering swordsmen of the same level. Su Qingshan coughed twice and pretended not to be surprised, calmly speaking up. I can barely say that your character has passed the test. My cousin can be said to be the youngest and most beautiful woman in the Manling region. If you don't have some skills, you may not be able to protect her. Lin Xiao pondered for a moment, then approached Su Qingshan and bent the 2-meter-long spear in his hand, calmly asking. Is this skill feasible? Hush. Everyone took a cold breath and opened their mouths in surprise, looking incredulously at what was happening before them. The same idea suddenly popped up in everyone's minds. Is this still human? The reason why everyone reacted so strongly was that the long spear in Su Qingshan's hand was not ordinary scrap metal. This spear is a weapon of the 2nd level and 6th grade, with the same level as a junior swordsman. The hardness of this weapon goes without saying, even a mid-level swordsman cannot damage it. But now it has been broken by a fool who everyone says is powerless. How can one not be shocked? Lin Xiao appeared indifferent and did not feel any pressure at all. After 9 cycles of reincarnation, his physical strength greatly improved, making it easy to break off 2nd and 3rd level weapons with bare hands. Su Wanyan carefully scrutinized Lin Xiao, as if he wanted to see him through inside and outside, just because the sun.in.law in front of him was different from what he knew. Is he really your son? It should be. Right. Lin Wei reacted and glared fiercely at Su Wanyan. He is my son who has been raised for 18 years and has grown up in a mess. If you dare to question him again, don't blame me for turning against you. On the surface, Lin Wei's words were extremely affirmative, but there was also a slight shake in his heart. Today's son seems different from before. As for where the difference is, Lin Wei can't say why, it just feels strange. Su Qingshan was completely frozen in place, motionless as if petrified. His younger brother Su Qingsher's lips trembled and he said. Brother, your spear was forcefully bent by him. Su Qingshan had a black line on his forehead, and his brother's words always seemed to be referring to him rather than weapons, but he had no evidence. Lin Xiao saw Su Qingshan's gloomy face and thought he was unhappy about bending the opponent's beloved weapon. He decided to restore the spear to its original state. Su Qingsher saw this scene and excitedly patted Su Qingshan's shoulder. Brother! Look, he has straightened your gun again. Pop! Su Qingshan slapped his younger brother on the back of the head, telling him to shut up. His gaze fell on Lin Xiao and he said. You are different from what is rumored, in terms of temperament, appearance, and just demonstrated strength, which surprised me. It shows that you are not simple and qualified to marry my cousin. Go ahead, she is in the room. Upon hearing the other person acknowledge him, Lin Xiao showed a polite smile. Although I don't think the basic operation needs praise, since you praised me, I should also say, thank you. After speaking, he pushed away Su Qingshan and walked through the white flower bridesmaids, ignoring the strange looks of others. Excuse me, my wife can't wait anymore. If she doesn't have a child in 10 months, she'll have to come back and blame you. Don't blame me for not reminding you. For some reason, every time we listen to him speak, there is an inexplicable urge in our hearts to roll up our sleeves and come forward to beat him up. Creak. Before Lin Xiao could push the door, it opened from inside and made a crisp sound. A bride wearing a white wedding dress appeared in everyone's sight. Her head was draped with a pure white mesh, adding a hazy beauty. Exquisite wedding attire, closely fitting the graceful jade body, delineating perfect curves and curves. The vivid butterfly patterns on the clothing seemed to be dancing gracefully, giving people a dreamy and unreal feeling. Despite experiencing 10 reincarnations, Lin Xiao's first glance at the other person resulted in a brief confusion in his mind. The beauty of the other party completely exceeded his imagination. And everyone is the same. And I believe there are no words in the world that can describe the beauty of Su Meng at this moment. Lin Xiao has at least stepped into a fairyland beyond the power of mortals for the first 9 lifetimes, and has seen quite a few beautiful women before. He quickly became immune. My wife is just good. Looking, she needs to work hard tonight. The good atmosphere was shattered with just one sentence from Lin Xiao, and many people cast white glances at him. Su Wanyan spoke up and said, "It's getting late, we have to set off." "Your father-in-law is right," Lin Xiao said to Su Meng, "Wife, let's go home." He wanted to reach out and hold Su Meng's hand, but the other person treated him like air, ignored his existence, and walked towards the wedding car on his own. Su Wanyan looked apologetic and said, "My daughter has been spoiled by me since childhood. Son-in-law, please bear with me more. When you establish a relationship after marriage, similar things will not happen again." Lin Xiao said indifferently, "Father-in-law, don't worry. Su Meng just hasn't adapted for a while. Maybe she will stick to me after tonight. Besides, I am so excellent, and you all see it." Su Wanyan smiled knowingly, indicating understanding. According to the wedding customs of the Xiantian Empire, the groom and the wedding procession come to pick up the bride, and the bride's parents, along with a few relatives, will follow the wedding procession. We need to send our daughter into the hall of marriage and form a new family, so that the bride can have a preliminary adaptation process. There is still a folk saying. The general idea is to protect my daughter for life, leaving her away home and giving her a sense of security. Not to have the fear of losing one's mother's family and one's husband's family after marriage. The wedding reception team embarked on the journey of returning with great force, including Su Wanyan and his wife, as well as Su Meng's groomsmen and bridesmaids. In the wedding car, Su Meng remained silent from beginning to end, closed his eyes and regained his composure, seemingly agreeing to this life. In fact, she just has no choice. Even if she is unwilling, she cannot change the decisions made by her family. So she had to bury her unwillingness in the deepest part of her heart. Lin Xiao pressed his left elbow against his knee, propped his chin with his palm, and stared at Su Meng up close, his mouth chattering incessantly. White and tender, just looking at it makes me crave. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Anxious Bride. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Anxious Bride. Faced with Lin Xiao's teasing words, Su Meng ignored them and ignored them. Lin Xiao not only didn't get angry, but also developed a strong interest in the beautiful woman who was about to become his wife. With a wicked smile, he said, "You are indifferent to me now. Believe it or not, you will stick to me and even take the initiative to kiss me later." Su Meng remained silent and closed her eyes tightly. "It seems that you don't believe what I said. Since that's the case, why don't we make a bet? If I lose, you can handle it. If you lose, you must listen to me from now on. Lin Xiao didn't care whether the other party agreed to gamble with him or not, so he started fulfilling his bet on his own. I saw him extend his left hand, with his palm pressed against Su Meng's forehead. The reincarnation imprint in his palm shone brightly, and his soul instantly entered Su Meng's body. The scene before him made him frown. As expected, her spiritual world, which she used to manipulate magical elements, was shattered, causing her spiritual power to dissipate. On the way here, Lin Xiao learned about Su Meng's transformation from a magician to an ordinary person through the memories preserved in his physical body. At that time, he was guessing the reason, and now he has seen the truth. As expected, it is similar to what he expected. The spiritual seat in the spiritual soul of cultivators stores spiritual power, although it is different from this world dominated by fighting spirit and magic. But no matter what kind of cultivation system it is, it requires a carrier to store energy, which cannot be changed. As long as you understand this principle, it is not difficult to find the problem. Lin Xiao quickly imprinted his hands, attempting to forcefully repair the opponent's fragmented spiritual world with spiritual power. Fragments of the world emitting spiritual energy slowly pieced together. Su Meng suddenly opened her eyes, feeling the disappearing spiritual power, and her whole body trembled slightly with excitement. Her unstable emotional fluctuations caused the incomplete fusion of her spiritual world within her body to collapse and scatter again. Bang! Lin Xiao was the first to suffer the backlash, his soul returning to its original form and his body regressing. In a panic, he grabbed Su Meng's wedding dress, causing their bodies to lose balance and fall, causing the wedding car to shake. Looking at the man under him, Su Meng's gaze changed from cold to soft, with complex emotions mixed in his eyes. Are you okay? There's something to do. Lin Xiao was enjoying it, but pretended to be uncomfortable. I'm feeling a bit dizzy and my chest is a bit stuffy. I'm almost out of breath. Hurry up and give me artificial respiration. Before switching, Su Meng would definitely get up and kick the other person away. But now that she has learned that Lin Xiao can help her regain her mental strength, she absolutely cannot let the other party have any problems. Even if she knew that the other party wanted to take advantage of her, she could only endure it. Su Meng yearns to regain her spiritual strength. She wants to become stronger and go back to seek revenge against the person who caused her to lose everything. Lying on the ground pretending to be injured, Lin Xiao opened a gap in his eyelids and secretly glanced at the beautiful bride who was preparing to do artificial respiration for him, secretly enjoying himself. When Su Meng's red lips were about to touch Lin Xiao's mouth, his father Lin Wei lifted the curtain in front of the wedding car and happened to see their intimate behavior. The other people accompanying naturally saw it and showed surprised expressions. Especially when Su Meng was lying on top of Lin Xiao, pulling open his clothes and kissing each other. Everyone quickly turned their heads and pretended not to see anything. So everyone heard the commotion caused by the wedding car just now. Lin Wei came to check, never thought it would be like this. Lin Xiao, who had read countless people, didn't feel any embarrassment and spoke seriously. The bride was a bit anxious and wanted to skip the wedding steps and get married directly, so she threw me down. I couldn't resist even if I wanted to. As soon as these words were spoken, the men cast admiring gazes, making the woman so anxious to pounce was undoubtedly a master. As a father, Lin Wei is very pleased that his son is much better than himself. Even Su Wanyan gave a thumbs up to show admiration. You guys keep going. Lin Wei put down the curtain, rode a unicorn, and chatted happily with his in-laws Su Wanyan. The content was probably inseparable from the two children. In the wedding car, Su Meng quickly got up, his face blushing with embarrassment. It was really embarrassing just now. It's been said that you will stick to me and even take the initiative to kiss me. Now believe it, Lin Xiao said proudly. Su Meng was dumbfounded after eating, his chest curled up and he had nowhere to breathe. In fact, Lin Xiao was not completely pretending to be injured just now, and indeed suffered a considerable backlash. His current state is too low, and his soul is very fragile. Without the help of external forces such as formations, it is difficult to help Su Meng repair his spiritual world. Su Meng, who had been silent for a long time, took the initiative to ask him this time. Can you really help me repair my mental strength? Lin Xiao thought for a moment and replied, yes, but why should I help you? What benefits does repairing your mental power have for me? This statement does sound quite realistic, but Su Meng can also understand. After all, the world of the jungle is like this, no one would help another stranger for no reason. Everything requires a certain amount of effort in return, which is the law of jungle survival. Moreover, their marriage had no emotional foundation and was entirely based on the interests of two families, which led to this alliance. The other party refused to help him, which was reasonable and expected, but Su Meng had no intention of giving up. After pondering for a moment, she said with a slightly embarrassed expression in her gradually awkward mood. Aren't we married? Aren't you willing to help me? Su Meng added, or what would you do to help me? As long as you say, I'll try my best to satisfy you. Lin Xiao pondered for a long time and said, it's not impossible to help you, but I haven't figured out how to repay you yet. Su Meng was pleasantly surprised and said, do you mean you agreed? Lin Xiao nodded and reminded, but don't be too happy too early either. Your situation is very serious, and the recovery process is extremely painful. Whether you can survive or not depends on yourself. Su Meng's eyes became resolute and firm, and he said, no matter how much pain I hear, I will restore my mental strength. I will make the person who harmed me pay the price. The person who harmed you? Lin Xiao asked curiously, who is it? Before, she didn't say much and was afraid of bringing trouble to her parents and even the entire family. But now, Su Meng feels no need to hide her husband who is planning to help her regain her mental strength. The person who harmed me is the daughter of the dean of the Osborne School of Witchcraft and Wizardry where I am located. Lin Xiao was quite surprised that the murderer was actually the daughter of the dean. Could it be that his wife was too excellent and posed a threat to others? Su Meng continued. Due to my far superior magical talent compared to my peers, I am quick to learn anything and have been highly regarded by my mentors at the Osborne School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. They all believe that my future is limitless. As my fame in class grew, the dean's daughter, who left me far behind, began to feel jealous of me. I'm not sure what magical potion she used, but I can be sure it must have been her poison, because she hasn't targeted me once or twice. After my mental strength disappeared, my mentors probably knew who did it, but they didn't make a sound. It's also my fault for being too competitive. I didn't listen to my mentor's reminder and shouldn't have made an early appearance, otherwise I wouldn't have fallen to this point. Su Meng blamed himself for being too young. The mentor who sent me to the Osborne School of Witchcraft and Wizardry has used many methods to help me regain my mental strength, but none of them have been effective. He was afraid that the dean's daughter would harm my life, so he quietly sent me back without telling anyone. My mentor reminded me to go home and live a good life, not to return to the Osborne School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, as it would only bring disaster, but I am not willing to accept it. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Uncles openly ridicule and insinuate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Uncles openly ridicule and insinuate. After listening to the other person's experience, Lin Xiao felt that it was similar to his own experience and quite sympathetic. Relatively speaking, he is a bit more miserable. Su Meng was not harmed by bad people until at least 18 years later. And from the moment he was born, he was left with only his physical body and a confused soul that had not yet fully developed his mind. The true spiritual consciousness of the past life has been dormant for 18 years, only to awaken today. But as soon as I woke up, I married a beautiful wife. It doesn't seem so sad anymore. Don't worry, my wife. I'll prepare when you go back. If you can't wait, I'll work harder tonight, work harder, and start helping you recover your mental energy early. Lin Xiao touched her little hand, clearly taking advantage of her, but spoke seriously. Su Meng, who used to be cold and aloof, is now shy like a little orange cat, slightly lowering her forehead and making a subtle sound from her throat. The wedding procession returned to Yong'an City smoothly before disappearing at dusk. It took several hours to go back and forth, but fortunately nothing happened. The Lin family mansion is full of guests. The invited guests are all powerful small families from the barbarian region. Of course, compared to the three major families of Lin, Su, and Wang, they are still much inferior. Otherwise, under the name of Lin Xiao, a rumored fool from the outside world, no one would come to congratulate him. The true purpose of these small families coming here is not to rush towards Lin Xiao, but rather his father Lin Wei and other uncles who may inherit the position of family head. To put it simply, they just wanted to take this opportunity to curry favor with the Lin and Su families, trying to establish a relationship and find support. Outside the Lin family mansion, the people who came to watch the bustle blocked the road. The wedding car pulled by the unicorn was parked at the entrance. Lin Xiao lifted the curtain and got off the car, then turned around and reached out to help the bride in the car. When Su Meng appeared in her pure white wedding dress, everyone's faces showed expressions of amazement, all of whom were captivated by her beautiful appearance. Amidst the mesmerizing gaze of everyone, Lin Xiao elegantly walked into the mansion, holding Su Meng's delicate jade hand. According to wedding customs, they have to recite oaths in front of the statue of the goddess of love and sign each other's names on the contract to complete the ceremony. The two walked on the red carpet and arrived at the only square in the Lin family mansion, where a statue of the goddess of love stood in the center. The MC and all the guests have been waiting for a long time. Lin Xiao and Su Meng slowly walked towards the statue of the goddess of love, with two cute little flower boys scattering flowers in front of them. A few young people sat at an inconspicuous wedding table in the square. Lin Wenjie said to Lin Hongji, "Brother Hongji, he didn't." Lin Hongji was afraid that Lin Wenjie would reveal something that had poisoned Lin Xiao, so he sternly rebuked, "Shut up." The young people sitting at the same table, I don't know why Lin Hongji suddenly became so angry. One of them, named Lin Chengyuan, joked. "Lin Hongji, are you jealous that Lin Xiao has married a beautiful wife?" At this moment, Lin Hongji is full of anger. If all the elders were present, he would definitely go berserk. Because Su Meng was too beautiful, he was amazed. It's unbearable for such a beautiful woman to marry Lin Xiao, whom he has always looked down upon. The key is his plan, it didn't have any effect. "Lin Chengyuan, you also shut up for me, otherwise I will tell fourth uncle about your frequent gambling and see if your old man will break your leg." They are all in a rebellious age, and Lin Chengyuan is also not the one to be angered. If the other party doesn't grasp their grip, they will definitely throw the cup out of their hand. Concerns made him hesitant to act rashly. Lin Chengyuan pointed at Lin Hongji and said, "I'm holding my breath today. Don't let me seize the opportunity, otherwise there will be good fruit to eat." Among the many young people in the Lin family, only Lin Chengyuan doesn't care who the head of the family falls on, he doesn't help anyone. This is also one of the reasons why his father always scolds him for not being ambitious. In front of the statue of the goddess of love, Lin Xiao and Su Meng began to recite their oaths. "May God of love witness our love, and we voluntarily become husband and wife, taking a joint oath. Starting today, we will jointly shoulder the responsibilities and obligations bestowed upon us by marriage. Be filial to your parents, teach your children, love each other, and be a harmonious and loving couple. In the future, regardless of poverty or wealth, health or illness, under any circumstances, we will share hardships, sail through storms, work together with one heart and one mind, strive together, be faithful to each other, and live together hand in hand, never changing our hearts for a lifetime." After the two finished speaking, the MC waved his left hand and the oath they read turned into a marriage contract, floating in front of them. Lin Xiao bit his finger and wrote his name, then it was Su Meng's turn. When the two of them finished writing their names, the marriage contract shone brightly and turned into two rings placed on their ring fingers. Immediately below, a burst of cheers and congratulations erupted. If you look closely, sincere congratulations only come from a small group of people, most of whom are expressionless, just clapping and cooperating with a stern face. The MC congratulated and said, "Congratulations to the two newlyweds. From now on, you will be husband and wife." Lin Xiao smiled and said, "Thank you, we will be very happy. If we don't believe it, I guarantee it with the sun. If we let her down that day, the sun will explode and everything will die." The MC twitched a few times at the corner of his mouth and cursed inwardly, "Your master, you have let them down. You want the world to be destroyed. Do you still have the right of fate?" However, the MC didn't dare to say anything and silently turned around to leave. After putting on the ring, it's time to toast to all the uncles and elders. Lin Xiao and Su Meng, holding wine, first came to pay tribute to Lin Hongji's father, Lin Hai. "Thank you, uncle, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend my wedding. This cup is from the younger generation." Lin Hai didn't hide his disdainful expression on his face and said, "Your eldest nephew has performed well today. He usually looks silly and can't speak clearly. Now that he has just married a wife, his mind has become smarter. Uncle is going to break through the great swordsman recently. I won't drink your wine, nephew. Uncle is afraid that drinking it will make him foolish and affect his cultivation." Just as Lin Hai finished speaking, Lin Wenjie's father, Lin Juanhao, said, "Big nephew, your uncle is right. We don't want to drink the wine you respectfully. We're really afraid of being influenced by you and becoming foolish. If you were smarter, we would have had it long ago." Lin Wei, who was drinking and chatting with Su Wanyan not far away, heard two guys, Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao, looking strange in public. Lin Wei lost control of his emotions and accidentally crushed his glass. When he was young, he was the strongest among several brothers. He risked his life multiple times to rescue Lin Hai and others, but what he did not expect was the result he received today. In the face of interests, brotherhood and life-saving kindness are so ridiculous. As elders, Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao not only failed to establish a good image for the younger generation. They also took the initiative to stir up internal strife and made sarcastic remarks about their own sons. Lin Wei couldn't swallow this breath, so he had to come forward to theory. Su Wanyan stopped him and said, "My dear family, don't be impulsive. I believe my son-in-law can handle such a small matter well." Lin Wei hesitated and sat back in his seat. Because he considers his son's future, if one day he is not by his son's side, can he protect himself well? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Big Bets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Big Bets. Those small families who had originally intended to use this wedding banquet to establish good relationships with the Lin family heard Lin Hai personally say that they were about to break through the swordsmanship, and everyone approached with smiles and flattery. Congratulations to brother Lin Hai, who is about to become the third strong warrior in our barbarian region to reach the level of a great swordsman. Yes, yes. Brother Lin Hai is in his prime and has achieved so much. He will definitely be the strongest swordsman in the Manling region in the future. Brother Lin Hai, I have a daughter who is pure and lovely, just about the same age as your father. I wonder if your father has any thoughts of getting married now. If so, I will bring her over tomorrow. These people only strive to be attentive to Lin Hai, and even want to marry their daughter to the other person's son, all because they value the other person's strength. Because currently there are only two strong swordsmen in the entire Manling area. One is the head of the Lin family who is preparing to abdicate, Lin Haoyang. The other is the current head of the Wang family, Wang Batian. Su Wei, the head of the Su family, is the only high-level magician in the Manling region. However, compared to the two great swordsmen, Su Wei is the oldest, so his prestige naturally falls short of his prime. In addition, the overall strength of the Su family's backbone is not as strong as the other two, which is why they are frequently bullied by the Wang family. If Lin Hai is successfully promoted, then he will be the youngest swordsman in the current Manling region. At that time, even Wang Batian will have to be wary of the Forest Sea. The Lin family, with two great swordsmen stationed, can almost be said to be the first family in the Manling region. And in the future, the position of the head of the Lin family will definitely be none other than Lin Hai. How could the small families who want to find support miss this great opportunity? They knew very well that if they didn't please Lin Hai in advance, once he broke through the swordsman and took the position of the head of the Lin family, it would be too late to say good things. Lin Xiao, who was ignored standing on the side, was mocked by his two uncles even though he was the protagonist of the wedding today. The new lady Su Meng felt embarrassed for him as the groom's official. Lin Xiao coughed twice and said, "Uncle and uncle say I'm stupid, but I don't think so. I think the intelligence of the two uncles is not as good as mine." Lin Juanhao slammed the table and scolded, "How can you talk to your elders? You really lack guidance and are disrespectful. I'll teach you a lesson for your father now. Third brother, don't be angry. Your eldest nephew has a bad brain. Why do you need to have a similar understanding with him?" Lin Hai gave Lin Juanhao a glance, reminding him that his second brother Lin Wei was watching. Then Lin Hai sneered at Lin Xiao. Where on earth did the eldest nephew have such confidence? He even said that our uncle's brains are not as good as yours. Lin Xiao said bluntly, "The two uncles don't look very smart, like two big fools. If you don't believe me, let me ask a few questions to verify the intelligence of the two uncles. If the two uncles answer correctly, it proves that they are not stupid, and if they don't answer correctly, it proves that I am right." Lin Xiao urged the other. Lin Hai didn't take it seriously and nodded confidently. "Okay, uncle wants to see what kind of powerful question the silly nephew can say." Lin Xiao chuckled inwardly, as the other party couldn't withstand being lured. But he didn't rush to start, he wanted to play something exciting. Seeing the two uncles full of confidence, "Why don't we increase our bets?" Lin Juanhao impatiently said, "I really thought we gave you face and wanted to gamble with us. Don't you see if you're compatible?" Lin Hai prevented the emotionally agitated third brother from attracting the nearby second brother Lin Wei. Moreover, he also wants to take advantage of this opportunity to pit his second brother who has a chance to compete for the position of head of the family through Lin Xiao. Then let the second younger brother personally promise not to compete for the position of head of the family in front of everyone. If the second younger brother reneges, he can also use the other party's integrity as an excuse to secretly promote the situation until the second younger brother faces punishment from the public. What does the eldest nephew want to gamble on? Uncle will accompany him to the end. After all, if the eldest nephew gets married today, how can uncle ruin his interest? How could Lin Xiao not see the other person's thoughts, so he schemed and said, "It's not interesting to gamble too small. Let's gamble something big. If I lose, my father Lin Wei and I will leave the Lin family forever and never come back." His words were exactly what Lin Hai wanted to hear. Lin Hai thought that Lin Xiao had fallen into his trap, but little did he know that he was the one who jumped into the pit. The Forest Sea, still feeling everything under control, flashed an excited light deep in its eyes, fleeting and difficult for outsiders to notice. Lin Wei, who was not far away, was choked heavily by his son's words. This little rabbit is trying to trick his father. Don't worry, my in-laws. Since my son-in-law dares to bet so much, there must be a 100% chance of winning. We must trust him. Su Wanyan poured a drink for Lin Wei and said, "Besides, don't you still have me, the Su family? Even if my son-in-law loses, you can come directly to my Su family." I guarantee that your father and son will not worry about food and clothing. Lin Meng took a sip of wine, suppressing his restless emotions and planning to trust himself for a while the next day. Everyone thinks Lin Xiao is crazy. Lin Xiao's actions also caught the attention of the homeowner Lin Haoyang. Lin Haoyang silently observed Lin Xiao and saw what he wanted to do. Everyone's gaze turned to Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao saw that both uncles were almost unable to suppress their overflowing joy, and continued to make unfinished bets. I'm betting on my father and my own future. If those two uncles lose, how about sweeping the door of the Lin family's mansion for a month? After careful consideration, Lin Hai didn't think he would lose, so he readily agreed. According to you, if we really lose, your third uncle and I will not only sweep the door for a month, but also help all the unicorns take a month's bath, so as not to say we bully the younger generation. The two uncles are happy. Lin Xiao stopped chattering and asked the question. First, let me give you a simple answer. The question is about things on a human body. There is hair on top and hair on the bottom, sometimes wet, occasionally itchy and fragile, and hair on hair at night. What is this? This. The scene was instantly silent. For a moment, many people whispered to each other how Lin Xiao could raise such a filthy question in public. Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao looked embarrassed and hesitated for a long time, but could not make up their minds to guess the answer. The answer is too dirty. If we don't answer the first question, we'll let you play tricks and win a game. The answer is too dirty. Lin Xiao announced the answer with a puzzled expression on his face. The answer is eyes. Where is it dirty? What are you thinking, uncles? Eyes. It shouldn't be. Lin Juanhao's face looked surprised as he spoke, realizing that the latter half of the sentence was inappropriate and immediately closed his mouth. The other people's expressions were the same as his, proving that they all wanted to be crooked. I'm not sure what the answers in the hearts of the two uncles are, but my answer is my eyes, Lin Xiao replied, pretending to be a naive and obedient child. Actually, he intentionally misled everyone. Upon careful consideration, it seemed that apart from the eyes that met his question, there seemed to be nothing on the person that met it. I can't even answer such a simple question. It's embarrassing to say that you two are stupid and don't admit it, right now. Lin Xiao retorted blatantly. Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao gritted their teeth and refused to accept the airway. Come again. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Words of Tiger and Wolf. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Words of Tiger and Wolf. Since the other party is not satisfied, Lin Xiao plans to create a question until they are satisfied and says. Two uncles, please listen to the question. What does a man have, but a woman does not? Unmarried girls will feel shy when they kiss, while men will be excited. The previous question is already misleading enough, but it's really hard not to distort it. Even Su Meng, who doesn't eat human fireworks, found it difficult to maintain a cool and aloof image upon hearing this question, and his expression slightly changed. Not to mention other girls, their little faces were flushed and almost bleeding, and they all lowered their heads and dared not show anyone. Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao once again showed a troubled expression. The main question is what Lin Xiao said. If we follow the literal meaning, the answer is definitely extremely dirty. But based on their previous experience, the two of them feel that it's not that simple, there must be other answers. Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao thought for a long time, but could not come up with an answer other than the dirty one. Both men and women have eyes and noses. Hair, ears, limbs, men and women are the same. All the two of them could think of was their bodies. In the barbarian region, the two of them can definitely be considered figures. If in order to win, Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao have to say some answers that damage their image, they would rather lose than cherish this face. Lin Hai spoke with a displeased expression and said, the answer is really not pleasing to the ear. We won't answer this question and let you win 2 games. We don't believe you have so many crooked questions to answer in the future. Lin Xiao still had a simple and innocent appearance, pretending not to understand his meaning and wondering. The answer is a man's Adam's apple. How could it become unbearable in Uncle's mouth? Did Uncle think it was crooked again? According to his personality in the first 9 lifetimes, as long as he is reasonable, he will not easily let go of the other person, and must say that the other person's face is ruined. Lin Xiao, who was carefree, opened his mouth with a critical strike. Uncle may not often be neglected by his aunt, so he feels empty, lonely, and cold. His soul has not been comforted for a long time, which is why he is so obsessed with the word filth in his mind. Lin Xiao looked left and right, but couldn't find the figure of the aunt, so he said to Lin Hongji, "How do you behave as a son? Your parents are not in harmony. Your son doesn't know how to mediate. It seems that he has choked your father and made everything dirty." Lin Xiao turned his head to Lin Haidao. "I'm not talking about your uncle. Without your aunt, you wouldn't have spent 2 gold coins to find a girl to comfort you. Holding it for a long time will damage your body." Lin Hai was dumbfounded and didn't know how to refute it for a moment. Especially when the younger generation publicly buttoned some unrealistic things on his head, he was so angry that he gritted his teeth and stared, clenched his hands into fists, and his knuckles turned white. At this moment, Lin Hai really has an impulse to kill Lin Xiao. Considering that everyone was watching, he had to forcefully suppress his anger and later find an opportunity to settle accounts with Lin Xiao. The audience at the play was too grand to breathe, afraid of touching Lin Hai's eyebrows and causing discomfort for themselves. Lin Wei, who had just been extremely nervous, couldn't close his smile now. His son's outstanding performance beyond recognition dispelled all his worries in his heart. On the other hand, Lin Hai gritted his teeth as if he wanted to eat people. Lin Hai said coldly, "Stop talking nonsense and set the question." Lin Xiao could hear the other person's words almost squeezed out from between his teeth, indicating how much he hated him. However, Lin Xiao doesn't care. The more angry the other person is, the happier he becomes. When Lin Xiao was preparing to answer the question, Lin Juanhao suddenly shouted to stop because his question was too misleading. Therefore, Lin Juanhao requested that he should not use male and female bodies as a topic. Lin Xiao sneered. Even if he didn't use male and female bodies to solve the problem, the other person still couldn't answer, so he followed their instructions. "Uncle, please listen to the question. What is an unmarried man and woman living together? Answer 2 words." Lin Xiao ordered someone to bring paper and a pen. "I will write the answer on paper to avoid accusing me of cheating." When they heard the words, man and woman, Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao's faces were even worse than bitter gourds. The other party did not ask questions about the bodies of men and women, but they are still related to men and women. The two suspected that Lin Xiao was intentionally angering them. The point is that they still have no way to deal with Lin Xiao, which is very frustrating. However, the primary task at present is to answer the questions, and Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao are seriously considering it. Suddenly, Lin Wenjie, who was elsewhere, raised his hand in excitement and loudly said, "I know the answer to unmarried men and women living together is morning exercises." The sound was loud and loud, clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. The scene was instantly silent, and the needle could be heard. Everyone coincidentally looked at Lin Wenjie, with strange and complex situations in their eyes, wondering why this child was so dirty. The answer surprised everyone even more. Lin Xiao took the initiative to announce the answer and said, "That's right, congratulations on getting it right." Everyone's first reaction was speechlessness. Can we all answer correctly? It can only be said that this question is not suitable for normal people, and it needs to be answered by non-normal people. Unfortunately, the answer didn't come from the mouths of the 2 uncles, so the judgment is invalid. Lin Xiao looked regretful, but in reality, he secretly felt happy and said, "If you want to win me, you 2 will live in the next life." Lin Juanhao gave his son Lin Wenjie a glare, blaming him for meddling. Next, Lin Xiao came up with several more questions that seemed simple, but no one could guess the answer anymore. At this moment, the person sent by the Wang family to attend the wedding suddenly spoke rudely. It's really interesting that two silly people were fooled around by a fool. It seems that the Lin family is no longer talented, and it will eventually be destroyed in the long river of history. The speaker was a young man, about 20 years old, with a charming appearance. But his every word and action exudes a sinister and vicious temperament, making people feel cold and cold. This person is the eldest grandson of Wang Batian, the head of the Wang family, Wang Wuji. Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao, who have been constantly eating and holding back their anger, are worried that there is no place to vent their anger. Humph. Who was I at that time? I turned out to be the eldest grandson of Wang Batian. Lin Hai pressed the opponent step by step and said as he walked, "Don't say you're the first genius of the Wang family. Even if your grandfather Wang Batian comes to my Lin family territory, he must remain calm and restrain his previous domineering aura. If my grandfather were here, your head would have already fallen to the ground," Wang Wuji fiercely retorted. His low self-esteem stems from the cloaked person beside him. Advanced magician. Everyone exclaimed, "I wonder when there will be a mysterious powerhouse in the Manling area." Although Lin Hai was surprised, he was not afraid of the other party. After all, this place and the ancestral city of the Lin family, it is not certain who will suffer losses. Wang Wuji saw Lin Hai no longer moving forward and thought he was afraid. He became even more arrogant and said, "Why, are you afraid?" Everyone looked at the postures of both sides. This is going to be a fight. Lin Hai's anger grew stronger in his heart, as if anyone could bully him. How could he not be angry? Perhaps only Su Meng in the field didn't care if both sides were fighting, she just wanted to quickly recover her mental strength. Su Meng tugged at Lin Zhao's clothes and asked, "It's already dark. When can you help me treat it?" Taking back his gaze, Lin Zhao whispered, "I also want to leave early, but if uncles don't drink the tea I offer, the wedding ceremony won't be considered complete and I can't do anything about it. Moreover, the treatment is very time-consuming. If we start helping you with the initial treatment later, we won't be able to sleep tonight," Lin Zhao explained. Su Mengkai didn't care about that much. "Then we won't sleep tonight and will stay up until dawn." The tense atmosphere at the scene immediately quieted down due to her words. Everyone can't believe that the words they hear about tigers and wolves actually come from a beautiful bride. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Gathering Spirit Formation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Gathering Spirit Formation. Everyone, including Lin Xiao, stared blankly at Su Meng, like wood. Feeling the surprised gaze of everyone, Su Meng not only felt no discomfort, but also took out the magic scroll left for her by her mentor to defend herself. The magic scroll twinkled with green light, and the terrifying waves of magic continued to overflow and spread, causing the magical elements in the air to become restless. Sixth Order Instant Burst Scroll. Everyone's faces changed dramatically, their hearts trembling with fear. The shadow of death quietly filled their bodies, and their legs softened from fear. Something like the 6th level Instant Explosion Scroll, which has extremely strong damage, once exploded, not only the people present, but even the entire city of Yong'an will be flattened in an instant. Even within the reach of the eye, regardless of trees, flowers, plants, or wild animals, all flying ashes will be annihilated, with no possibility of survival. Su Meng's indifferent gaze scanned the crowd and said, "Today I'm getting married. Who dares to be reckless here? I'll keep him from seeing the sun tomorrow." Then, she spoke to uncles such as Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao. "In consideration that you are my husband's elders, I will not hold you accountable for your verbal mistakes. You have drunk the wine that my husband respects, and I will go back to rest with you earlier." Wang Wuji, who had just been arrogant and domineering, still felt afraid in the face of Su Meng's dominance. He secretly cursed the other person as a madman, and then fled with a mysterious high-level magician. Lin Zhao's three uncles looked at each other, picked up their glasses, and drank them all in one gulp. The three of them left the wedding banquet silently without saying anything. Mainly because they have no face to speak again, staying behind will only be seen as a joke, so it's better to go home early. Lin Hai and Lin Juanhao felt embarrassed this time. Leaving aside the fact that they lost the bet and will face punishment. The two were repeatedly looked down upon by the younger generation, and Su Meng publicly threatened to drink a toast. On this point, the reputation and authority they had accumulated so hard in the past are now completely gone. Starting tomorrow, the two of them will definitely become the laughing stock of others over tea and dinner. Lin Hongji and Lin Wenjie, who had been humiliating and had never paid attention to Lin Xiao, felt that the other party's performance today was like a slap, fiercely hitting their faces, their cheeks inexplicably hot. Lin Haoyang took the initiative to approach Lin Xiao and patted his shoulder, saying, "Not bad, keep going." After speaking, Lin Haoyang took the glass from Lin Zhao's hand and drank it in one gulp, which was considered a toast from his children and grandchildren. The other party would take the initiative to talk to him, and Lin Xiao was quite surprised and replied, "Grandpa, I will work hard." Lin Haoyang laughed heartily and walked away. It is clear to discerning people that Lin Haoyang is becoming acquainted with Lin Xiao, and it is difficult to say that the position of the head of the family will not fall on his father Lin Wei. After this incident, most of the people who drank the wedding banquet left, most of whom were descendants of the Lin family. Undoubtedly, these are all people who have bullied or looked down upon Lin Xiao before. Finding the support of various small families is like a pile of wall grass. They forgot that they had been trying to please Lin Hai before, but now they shamelessly turned their heads to flatter Lin Wei and Su Wanyan. However, both of them are old acquaintances, accustomed to the fickle nature of human nature, and have not caused any resentment. Su Meng followed Lin Xiao back to his small courtyard. The yard is not big, about 20 square meters, and everything around it is empty except for a few weeds and mottled discolored walls. The room where Lin Xiao lives is smaller, only over 10 square meters, and it is simple and without any decoration. To the naked eye, there was a bed that could barely accommodate two people, along with a small table and a 1-meter wide wardrobe. Apart from that, there is no other furniture. If it weren't for getting married today and buying a bigger bed, they probably wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. Although Lin Xiao is a legitimate lineage, the family's status is too low, and the treatment he can enjoy is just like other Lin family's collateral children. The culprit behind all of this is the person who instructed his midwife to poison him 18 years ago. So no matter what, Lin Xiao must uncover the other party and calculate this account carefully. Lin Xiao is in such a small room, using his fingers as a pen and spiritual power as ink to depict complex and difficult to understand patterns. Although he was a magician, Su Meng couldn't understand what he was painting. It was too profound and mysterious to understand through appearances. Su Meng asked, "What is this?" Lin Xiao replied, "Gathering spirit formation." Su Meng's head was filled with question marks. She had at least stayed at the famous Ashu School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in the Xiantian Empire for nearly 10 years, but had never heard of the gathering spirit formation. Is it a magical formation inherited from ancient times? Coincidentally obtained by Lin Xiao? Su Meng is not quite sure. Anyway, the feeling Lin Xiao gave her is becoming more mysterious and unpredictable, not as simple as it appears on the surface. Under the handsome appearance of the other party, there is always a feeling of hiding a huge secret that is unknown to everyone. Su Meng couldn't resist the curiosity in his heart and asked again, "Can the gathering spirit formation help me restore my spiritual power?" Lin Xiao shook his head and said, "Relying solely on the spirit gathering formation is not enough. The function of the gathering spirit formation is only to activate the spiritual power of heaven and earth, and forcefully infuse it into your body. Nourish your physical body with spiritual power, strengthen your body and soul. So that when I help you reshape your spiritual world, your body and soul are too fragile to withstand collapse. Before we start, let me tell you that no matter which stage we progress to, it is an extremely painful process. If you can bear it, you will be reborn and stronger than when you were at your peak before. If you can't hold on during the process, then the only outcome waiting for you is death. You still have time to regret it now, Lin Xiao reminded while describing. Su Meng still remained resolute during the day and nodded seriously to answer. Even if there is only a 1 in 10,000 chance of success, I will give it a try. Seeing her so firm, Lin Xiao stopped persuading. What he can help the other party is to do his best and ensure that he doesn't make any mistakes. As Lin Xiao finished his last stroke, he took a deep breath. Wife, the gathering spirit formation pattern has been carved, but there is still a missing formation eye. In order to better nourish your body, I have decided to engrave the formation eye on you, so that you can perfectly integrate with the gathering spirit formation, which can better absorb spiritual power. Engrave the eye of the formation on me. Su Meng's face was very puzzled and he said, can we find a different way? Lin Xiao explained, this is the fastest and most effective method. Don't you want to recover your mental energy quickly? Su Meng hesitated and, after a struggle of thought, gritted her silver teeth and made a difficult decision. Okay, I'll listen to you. So Su Meng untied her belt, and the beautiful wedding dress slid down her silky body muscles to the ground, presenting a jade skin that was deceiving frost and competing with snow. The surging scene caught Lin Xiao's eye, and the visual impact made his heart beat faster and his blood surge. He stared straight at the other person for a long time, as if they had some kind of soul-stirring magic that was mesmerizing. His body was so restless that he had an uncontrollable urge to knock it down. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Strengthening Su Meng's Physical Fitness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Strengthening Su Meng's Physical Fitness. Under the candlelight, Su Meng was so beautiful and unreal, as if he were a legitimate immortal left behind in the world. She has beautiful eyes, big eyes, shy and hazy, fair skin like snow, and a graceful figure that can be described as perfect, without any flawless features. It seems like a masterpiece crafted by the world's top sculptors. Su Meng, without any obstructions, used her hands as the last fig leaf to cover her plump breasts. But because it was too full, it only blocked a little red in the snow. A pair of golden ratio jade feet, slightly bent and gathered together, knelt in shame in the middle of the gathering spirit formation, trying to keep an inch of space hidden. After all, Su Meng is getting married for the first time, and even though she is usually calm and composed, she still feels shy and uncomfortable at this moment. Although the other party was her future husband, she suddenly appeared naked and found it difficult to adapt in her heart. Lin Xiao, who was mesmerized by the sight, said in a daze as his saliva flowed to the ground. Actually, you don't need to take off your wedding dress, you can still capture the gathering spirit and eyes on your body. Before he could finish speaking, he felt the murderous gaze cast by Su Meng. Lin Xiao was sweating profusely while secretly cursing himself for his lack of breath. Why speak up when you can take advantage of it openly and openly? I really have a cramp in my head. Lin Xiao really wanted to slap himself 2 times. Now that the other person is dressed, not only can't take advantage of it, but he has also made the other person hold a grudge. He couldn't help but recall the 7th reincarnation to a certain blue star, where there was a story about a couple. The wife was dissatisfied with her husband, but she never showed it. One day, while her husband was sick, she secretly poisoned him in medicine and poisoned him, who had been sleeping together for many years. From this, it can be seen that no matter who you offend, never offend a woman, otherwise she will take advantage of your illness and take your life. Lin Xiao couldn't help but shudder at the thought of this and swallowed in fear. He made up his mind not to tell Su Meng that he was sick at any time. Because he is afraid of being drugged by the other party. Su Meng, who was dressed, looked embarrassed and angry and said, "You don't need to take off your clothes to depict the gathering of spirits. why didn't you tell me earlier? Are you deliberately trying to take advantage of me? If it weren't for becoming an ordinary person, Su Meng would really want to use a magic spell to kill the other person. Faced with Su Meng's questioning, Lin Xiao looked aggrieved and said, "You didn't ask either. Besides, you took off so quickly, I can't say it in time." Su Meng's face was bitter, and she was furious inside. Especially when I think that I misunderstood the other person's meaning, I don't even have a reason to vent my anger, and my chest fluctuates rapidly, unable to speak for a while. Lin Xiao timidly asked, "Wife, a moment in spring is worth $1,000. Should we start first?" Su Meng, who was still in a fit of anger, didn't want to talk to him, but considering that she could recover her mental strength earlier, she responded arrogantly. On the wall outside the small courtyard, a group of people, old and young, seemed to be eavesdropping on something. These people are Lin Xiao's parents, parents-in-law, and Su Meng's groomsmen and bridesmaids. They originally wanted to make a scene for the wedding, but the incident of Lin Xiao toasting at the wedding made the two newlyweds quite unhappy. The parents of both parties, along with Su Qingshan and others, were afraid of angering Lin Xiao and Su Meng, so they dismissed the idea of having a wedding. However, they were not in a hurry to leave, but instead listened to what might happen between the two newcomers. "We're about to start." Everyone listened curiously, like a thief, secretly disregarding their image. In the wedding room, Lin Xiao focused his attention and carved the array eyes inside Su Meng's body from afar. As he was about to finish, he said, "The first step is for me to help you moisturize your body. If it hurts or feels uncomfortable, please let me know and I will take it slow." His voice was not loud, but in the quiet night, it could clearly reach the ears of the people lying on the wall. Lin Greatest felt relieved and said to Su Wanyan, "Look how much my son loves your daughter." Su Wanyan's heart was sour and a bit unpleasant. "This is a feeling that my daughter, who has been raised for many years, is about to be arched by a pig, which is quite uncomfortable." Lin Wei's wife Hiyu, also known as Lin Zhao's mother, made a quiet gesture to signal everyone not to make a sound. In the room, the gathering spirit formation operates, attracting a large amount of spiritual power to penetrate Su Meng's body, nourishing her internal organs, penetrating her 7 meridians and 8 meridians, and strengthening her body. Su Meng looked at the light blue glow emanating from the surface of her skin and said, "It's so magical, warm, and comfortable. I've never had this wonderful feeling before." Lin Xiao controlled the spirit gathering formation and felt much relieved when he saw that she had not experienced any adverse reactions. "Just feel comfortable, I'm afraid you'll feel uncomfortable." The conversation between the two sounded fine, but in the ears of the group of people on the courtyard wall who were not clear about the situation, the smell immediately changed. Through the conversation between the groom and bride, they unexpectedly imagined the scene of the groom and bride being shy in the room. Actually, it's not as people imagine. For a long time, Lin Xiao felt that the other party's body should adapt to this spiritual power, and said, "Don't just kneel down, turn around, it's convenient for me to perform next." Although Su Meng was not sure why she had to turn around, she didn't ask too many questions and obediently followed the other person's instructions. Lin Xiao didn't explain too much because even if he explained, the other party might not understand. It's better not to talk nonsense and just take action. I saw his right hand pointing together as a sword, and his spiritual power condensed at his fingertips through his arm, transforming into the shape of a needle. I will stab it into your body later. This step is crucial and cannot be stopped during the process. It may be very painful, so please hold on. After speaking, Lin Xiao inserted his fingertip spirit into the opponent's body acupoints, followed by the second and third needles. About an hour Su Meng went from being silent at the beginning, to murmuring in waves, and finally, her hoarse voice exhausted her strength. Her body's ability to withstand it had reached its limit, approaching the critical point of explosive body. But Su Meng never gave up because she knew it was useless to call a stop. Moreover, she found that her body was gradually strengthening and her endurance was constantly improving, comparable to that of a martial arts master practicing martial arts. Pain is the transformation of the physical body, and happiness is her true mood. Because the body of a magician is the most fragile, they can only attack from a distance and dare not engage in hand-to-hand combat when fighting with others. Even if the magician has the upper hand, if the enemy gets close, they will immediately lose the advantage, and even be suppressed and beaten by the opponent, which will result in a great loss. And Su Meng's current physique, even without using any magic to enhance combat power and defense, can still compete head-on with intermediate swordsmen in close combat. For a magician, this is simply an incredible thing, equivalent to the existence of a dual-level powerhouse. Everyone lying on the wall, hearing Su Meng's painful cries, couldn't imagine what she had experienced inside. Su Qingshan whispered, "Uncle Su Lin, Su Meng's cry is like killing a pig. There shouldn't be any trouble, right? What do you know, this child? When you get married, you'll know what pain and happiness are." Lin Wei reacted and looked at the group of young people, saying, "By the way, why haven't you left yet? Go, go, go. Go to bed now, it's not suitable for children." Su Qingshan and the other groomsmen and bridesmaids wanted to stay longer, but the elders didn't want them to stay here too long and drove them back. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Difficulty in sleeping for people and animals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Difficulty in sleeping for people and animals. Listening until late at night, Lin Wei and several other elders quietly left, as if they had never appeared before. The vast Lin family, with Su Meng's voice alone, spread throughout half of the mansion on a quiet night. Many people are unable to fall asleep as a result, and Lin Hongji is one of them. He lay tossing and turning in bed, with a look of anger on his face, his fists too hard, making a bone-cracking sound. According to the plan, the person who shares the same bed with Su Meng tonight will be him. Unfortunately, fate did not meet people's wishes, and the beautiful woman she longed for ultimately lay in someone else's bed. Lin Hongji is so angry in his heart. Especially from afar, one could still hear Su Meng's shy moans, which made him restless and crazy. Lin Hongji used all his tricks in an attempt to calm himself down. But his consciousness seemed to be uncontrollable, always unconsciously going to his brain. The sweet and lingering scene of Su Meng and Lin Xiao in the bridal chamber. These voices are driving him crazy. Lin Xiao, please enjoy the last few days to your heart's content. I, Lin Hongji, swear that I will personally save your life on the day of the coming-of-age ceremony. Lin Hongji's steel teeth were shattered, and his whole face turned red with anger. The night quickly faded and dawn arrived as promised. The first beam of sunlight shines on the earth, awakening all things that have slept for a night. The Lin family servants, who are responsible for cleaning, woke up early to work. To be precise, they actually didn't sleep the whole night. A servant named Aken yawned and listlessly fed the unicorn with feed. His companion brought water and asked, "Look at you, you probably didn't sleep well last night." "Not only did I not sleep well, but the noise from last night made it difficult for humans and animals to sleep. Look at the unicorns in the shed, they are so tired they don't even have the energy to eat, let alone humans." The two male servants nagged and complained to each other. The maids, on the other hand, had 30.5% of them whispering and chatting gossip. The long-haired maid spoke up and said, "The son of the second master is so fierce. Last night, we had a stormy night with the bride, and the bride's voice never stopped. It shows how healthy the groom is, without any rest or breathing. The bride must be very happy." The short-haired maid said, "Yes, I envy the bride so much. If my man could have the strength of a groom, I would be satisfied in this lifetime." The curly-haired maid sneered, "Cut it off. What's wrong with this? My lover is much more powerful than the groom." The long-haired maid obviously didn't believe it, and without hesitation, she said, "Brag, that real man in your family can only be counted as 3 seconds at most. After 4 seconds, I'll wash my hair upside down. The curly-haired maid was stunned and grabbed the long-haired maid's collar with one hand, forcing her to ask, "How did you know?" The long-haired maid panicked and said without hesitation, "How do I know what it means? There's nothing in Yong'an City that I don't know." Her words not only offended the curly-haired maid, but also the short-haired maid. The 3 maids got into a scuffle over this matter, their hair was torn and their clothes were torn apart. As the protagonists of this gossip, Lin Xiao and Su Meng are still in the room and unaware of the outside world. Lin Xiao spent the whole night using strong and pure spiritual power to help Su Meng forcefully chop hair and wash marrow, strengthening his soul and physique. The consumption of energy in energy is too great, and others have all lost weight, their faces pale and tired. Lin Xiao is like a beggar who hasn't eaten, drunk or slept for several days, with 2 dark circles under his eyes that look like pandas, sunken and tired. On the other hand, Su Meng's face was rosy and full, and he became more ethereal and beautiful, without any drowsiness. She waved her arms, feeling this new power, as if there was an endless force throughout her body. Lin Xiao wiped the sweat off his forehead and prepared to change into a new clothes, but Su Meng stopped him. "I'm still here, can't you consider my feelings as a girl?" I was already very tired, and the other party still demanded so much from him. Lin Xiao said weakly, "We are both husband and wife now, and I don't mind being seen all by you." As he spoke, he took off his clothes. Su Meng quickly covered his face and strode outside, saying, "Rogue." Lin Xiao is too lazy to care about her, saying whatever she likes and changing clothes on her own. After the change, he went out and informed Su Meng in the yard, "According to wedding customs, we have to go eat with each other's parents this morning. After finishing, we will send your parents, cousin, and others back." I almost forgot, Su Meng turned around and rushed into the room. "Wait for me for a moment." Not long after, Su Meng changed into a water blue long dress and went to his parents' place with Lin Xiao. The yard where Lin Wei lives is much larger. The courtyard is decorated with rockeries, green chrysanthemums, a pavilion, and even a dedicated guest hall. After all, Lin Wei is one of the high-end fighting forces of the Lin family, and his reputation is not inferior to the other brothers, so he naturally lives well. However, since Lin Xiao was recognized by his elders as having a congenital intellectual disability since birth, the head of the family, Lin Haoyang, did not have much confidence in Lin Wei. The other 3 brothers each gave birth to a good son with good talent, and their arrogance became uncontrollable. He often bullies Lin Wei openly and secretly, even taking away many of his shops. This is the survival of the fittest, even if born into the imperial family, it cannot escape this rule. Entering the courtyard, Lin Xiao took the initiative to hold Su Meng's hand and greeted everyone with a smile. Su Meng originally wanted to break free, but found that her parents and cousins were all there, and her in-laws were still smiling to greet her. She had to cooperate with each other first. Lin Zhao's mother, Hiyu, warmly held Su Meng's hands and said, "My daughter-in-law has worked hard, didn't the stinky kid bully you?" Lin Xiao felt aggrieved and said, "Mother, look at her energetic appearance, and then look at me. Who is bullying who?" Indeed, when everyone saw Lin Zhao's emaciated appearance, they were greatly surprised. Everyone thought to themselves how hard he had to work last night to make himself look like this ghost. Hiyu grabbed Lin Zhao's ear and said, "It's right for your daughter-in-law to bully you, but if you dare to bully Su Meng, your father and I can't spare you." Lin Xiao shouted in pain, "Pain, pain." Su Meng felt the warmth of her husband's family and helped Lin Xiao overcome the situation, saying, "My husband didn't bully me, he treated me very well." Seeing her daughter-in-law taking care of her son, Hiyu felt so happy inside that she couldn't even close her lips. Lin Wei laughed beside him and said, "Seeing how loving you two are, as parents, we can rest assured. Let's go and chat while eating." In the reception hall, there are 2 tables of food and drinks. Su Qingshan and other young people sat at a table. Lin Xiao and Su Meng sat at a table with their parents. Su Meng, who played the role of daughter-in-law, took the initiative to pour wine and vegetables for both parents. Although nothing happened between the two last night, what they should have done on the surface was not to be careless, so as not to let the parents think too much again. Su Meng gave Lin Xiao a chicken leg and said, "You worked hard last night, eat more." "Well, after tossing around all night, it's really exhausting. We need to make up for it more." Lin Xiao picked up the chicken legs and wolfed them down, reminding her, "We have to continue tonight. You'd better eat more to avoid fainting." Su Meng was really grateful to Lin Xiao for helping her improve her physique, and didn't think too much about it. Lin Xiao simply reminded Su Meng, afraid that she wouldn't be able to take it anymore. It can be heard in the ears of both parents, but it has turned into a picture of marital love and harmony. It can only be said that everyone is not on the same channel and the direction of understanding is incorrect. End of this chapter.